Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I've just gone ahead and started the recording. I'm here today with Kareem. Kareem, do you want to just give a quick introduction about who you are, what your company is, what you guys do, and sort of how we got on this call today together?
Definitely. Thanks, George. So my name's Kareem Shaban. I'm the founder of 73 Media. We're a B2B lead generation firm. We specialize in doing cold email. We're typically working with SaaS and Medtech companies. And that's the quick rundown about me. I met George through the academy, and that's how we got here today.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the quick introduction, Kareem. The first question I want to ask you is for sure the industries, how you ended up getting into those. I've taken a couple of these interviews. I've also spoken to literally hundreds of Lead Academy students, and I would say that comfortably 95% of people are going after either marketing agencies or coaches or consultants. So like everybody's kind of targeting the same people. How did you end up getting into medtech? That's such like a different industry.
Always since growing up, I've always loved science. I mean, even in school, in high school, I'd always be the kid taking like three or four sciences at a time. And Also at one point wanted to be a doctor. So that's always been huge for me. So medtech kind of played right into that. The love for science, the brain, especially the nerves. It plays so much into what I'm interested in. And I started out when I started in supply and logistics. I talked to Tyler because like that industry, it was rough. Like I wasn't signing as many clients. This
Mhm.
is like right when I joined. And so I get on one of these coaching calls and I tell Tyler, and Tyler's like, "What are you doing? Like you're just getting started." And so he helps me out, points me in the right direction. I start targeting SaaS companies, goes great. Like we're signing clients, stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's going good. And then I finally get the hang of things. And now
Mhm.
we expanded to MedTech, and that's the future's looking bright.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And wasn't this on a coaching call, or am I mistaken?
The where I was talking to Tyler about industries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on a coaching call.
Yeah, because I think I actually joined in on that one, and I remember hearing a conversation about industry. So that definitely makes sense. I mean, I also think that SaaS is something that's very interesting for cold email, especially when like I mean I don't know how familiar the audience is with like the idea of EBITDA and like how getting one customer for a SaaS company can increase their enterprise value. But I mean, like if you were to get a SaaS client, say a $49 a month lead or a $49 a month client, even though that's only adding about like $49 a month, in EBITDA or in value, in enterprise value, you could be adding thousands upon thousands of dollars. So that could be like a very good angle to approach software companies with. Is that kind of similar to what you guys are doing right now, or do you guys just approach them with just let me run cold email for you?
No, no, no. So again, that's how we started. Like when I started, obviously I was clueless. So that's what I started doing, in supply and logistics, especially. Yeah, I had to learn that lesson the hard way because I get on the call and again, I don't remember if it was you or Tyler who told me this. It was on one of the Friday coaching calls for the professor plan. And like Tyler and you were just like, what are you doing? Like frame everything in an ROI perspective. Like if you can, like the only metric that matters, the gold standard, cash collected. That's a Georgie Titian quote right there. So once I started like email scripts, everything, I'm telling you, putting it in an ROI perspective changes the game.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody's in business to make money. I don't want to hear any of those people who say it's for passion, because if it was for passion, then you'd be a nonprofit. So it makes sense, right? Everybody wants to be an ROI, or everybody wants an ROI return on, I guess, their investment or whatever it is they're doing. So it makes perfect sense why taking that route makes sense. I also think specifically with SaaS that's really easy because again, it's like when you have that enterprise value that you're adding to a client, like that's a big deal, right? I mean, it depends. Obviously, it depends on so many factors and like what the software company is. But like a $50 per month client ends up being like $600 in annual recurring revenue. And then when you're looking at like the better software companies are getting like 10, 20x multiples, you're adding six to $12,000 in enterprise value by getting them one client. And when you're
Hmm.
pushing numbers like that, it makes so much sense to do cold email for some software companies. And I honestly think that even though a lot of people do target software companies, like that's a really good industry, maybe even better than marketing agencies to go after, right? Obviously, in a situation like that, you're gonna have to have like a lot more volume, but I definitely think that's an interesting industry, right? MedTech as well, right? It's very I guess, refreshing to hear you actually have a reason for choosing medtech rather than just it's what everybody else is doing. Because that's in essence what
Appreciate it.
everybody else does do. It's just, target whatever their guru tells them to target. So, that's definitely refreshing to hear. And that's actually a big part of what we're going to be covering in the new Lead Academy course because we're revamping everything. And we want to talk about the concept of going after these upmarket industries because like there are so many other industries where people are making so much more money and there's so much less competition, and like it's literally just up for the grabs and just no one is going after it. So that's very interesting to hear. But I guess my next question for you, and I know that Lead Academy has a lot of tools for lead list building, so I assume that's one of the main things that you use. But what is kind of like the main thing that you're seeing from Lead Academy in terms of benefit? Is it community coaching calls? Where are you seeing most of the, I guess, ROI?
It's so difficult because it helps with everything. Like it's not just like to get a clutch scraper or get lock a scraper, Google My Business, there's so many, even to clean the company names, right? To get that bill, I probably would have spent thousands. Especially now, like you don't have to get a proxy. Like I was spending $200 on proxies before the academy. No proxies, no, like I don't have to develop in-house tools. It's all there. It's all hosted. It's like that aspect, beautiful. Like I have a whole story on how that helped literally yesterday. Um, like it was driving me crazy. But what the coaching calls do is also next level because it's not just like I'm not watching a video. You and Tyler are literally right there. I can ask any question that literally pops into my head. So whether it's like a specific sales scenario or a specific sales call that I had, literally gets reviewed in front of me, and you guys are like talking me through it, like what's going on, and finding out all these little issues, like things I would have never noticed before. Like
Yeah.
even some like little like there's in Smartly there's a new AI out of office setting for campaigns. And so what it will do is when the prospect emails back out of office, the AI will actually go through that email and see when they said they're coming back, and it will schedule the follow-ups to start on the date that they're back. Never would have found that
Yeah.
out without Tyler. The positive
Yeah.
reply rates from out of office leads, it's actually insane what happened after that. So that was amazing. And then
Of
obviously
course.
there's the content aspect too, which I mean to start it was very valuable, but I mean you kind of gave me that, like you gave me a little bit of a sneak peek of the new content. I only saw titles. I only saw titles. But oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Like I don't think I literally checked like almost once every like other day to see, okay, did George, like is this announcement what I've been waiting for? But so that's game changing. Like I'm not even kidding. I'm so excited.
Of course. Yeah. And honestly, like for me, because this is another thing that I like to mention a lot of the time is Lead Academy is our main business, right? It's not like, we're course creators and then agency owners. We're agency owners and then course creators, right? So a lot of the things that we're making for Lead Academy and a lot of the things that we're making content about, it's because we're actually in the day to day still. Like we still run a lead gen agency, we still do this every day. It's still our main source of income, right? So I know what people really are interested in because it's I know what helped me. I know what ended up helping my agency out. And this is like a sneak peek for you and for anybody watching this video right now. We have like this whole new section which is going to be in the program, which talks about how to deal with chargebacks and refunds, right? So again, it doesn't matter how good of a service provider you are. You're always going to have people who are scummy, who are going to try to, threaten chargebacks, who are going to try to do these things. And if you don't know what you're doing, well, then you can just get your Stripe account disabled. And if you get your Stripe account disabled, then all of a sudden you can't process payments. I mean, you could just cripple your business in just one wrong decision, right? And that's like a
Yeah.
big, big deal, obviously. And this is something that you and I can talk about, off camera, but like that we have this method that you can basically artificially increase the amount of transactions you have on Stripe. And if you ever do get a dispute or a refund, instead of having say one dispute and only 50 transactions and then you have a 2% dispute rate, you'll have hundreds of transactions and then you only have one dispute and therefore you have an sub 1% dispute rate, and then all of a sudden, you're doing great, and Stripe's not going to, turn off your accounts, and you're probably going to win the dispute on top of that, right? Information
Yeah.
like this is the type of stuff that I pay tens of thousands of dollars for to learn from coaches, from mentors, from pure personal experience. And it's like, I wish I would have known these things when I was getting started, because I
Hmm.
mean, it would have literally like completely changed the
Yeah,
way that business would be for us.
definitely.
And again, whenever I tell people that like we're making videos on like disputes and chargebacks and all that stuff, people automatically assume that like we're just bad at service delivery, or like whoever we're showing this is bad at service delivery. But people don't realize that these are problems that everybody has. Any service provider is always going to have problems like this, because not everybody's going to be as good of an actor as the rest of us, right? So that's a big problem that I think a lot of people have, that there really isn't any help for online. And I'm really excited to sort of make more content on that and publish that in Lead Academy. But I guess for you, what have you seen in terms of lead gen? Because I know I see you using those tools all the time, by the way, in the logs,
Yeah.
scraping stuff. So how have those like lists been that you've built with Lead Academy? Are you getting results, positive replies, clients? Like, kind of tell me about that a little bit.
The results are like they're great, but there's just this once. This happened literally yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, right? So Smartlead had this update that's the sending platform, and so when you import your list now, sometimes it'll just eat some of your leads.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's not bad. Normally it's like maybe 3 or 2K, whatever, right? Like that's like 30-20%. Um, and I import this list, and this was not using any tools. Like this was just a lookalike list that I was playing around with. Uh, Almost one lead away from 11,000 leads. Take a guess how much Smart Lead took out of that?
I don't know, like half.
70%. I lost
Wow.
7.5K leads. That list alone costed almost $100 to export. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's not crazy, but to lose 70% of that list, it actually like I was like infuriated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you probably see the logs. I go on, I scrape 1,000 Git lockup pages. That's 20,000 companies. Put them all in Apollo, get my filters going and stuff. Export it. Almost maybe 10 leads got taken out by Smart Lead. Almost 100% were all good in Smart Lead, and I was able to send. And that like it's amazing. Even for medtech, which is notoriously anything medical related, they always like to have all these crazy little spam filters and it's the most annoying thing in the world. I could talk about it for hours,
Mm-hmm.
but even for medtech, my campaign has almost a 20% positive reply rate and a over
Wow.
5% reply rate in general. And that's
Wow.
notoriously like one of the more difficult industries.
Yeah, that's crazy to hear. I mean, yeah, that's speaks testaments to the quality of data when you go off platform, which I feel like a lot of people don't do, because it's kind of like a lot of work to actually go and scrape these platforms. But then again, when you have these scrapers built out for you, it's not not that big of a problem.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear. Well, I guess, have you signed any clients already in any of these industries, like medtech, SaaS, even before when you were
Yeah.
doing you've signed some clients?
Oh yeah, lots. And like since Lit Academy, like if you look at my stripe, it just looks like a straight line, like going up. Like and I sound crazy right now, but that's like I wish I could show it. It shows like a straight line going up basically. And
Yeah.
so I started off in SaaS, thanks to you and Tyler. And so I signed like 4 or 5 clients, and that was like right off the bat, probably in the first month and a half, and all in SaaS, setup fee and pay per call. And then I'm at probably another 4 to 6 in MedTech right now, and all been in the last month.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, you're definitely one of the people who actually use Lead Academy to its fullest. Like, again, we have like a lot of members, and not everybody um, you know, goes and gets results like you do, right? And I feel like that's one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize about coaching programs, that no matter how much you spend on a coaching program, no matter who is the one teaching the coaching program, no matter what the information within the coach program is, if you don't actually take initiative to like watch the coaching program and like actually use it and like actually ask the questions, follow up, like, you're just not going to get anything from it, right? Like, it's not
Hmm.
magic in the end of the day. It's just a coaching program, right? So, that's good to see that you're actually using it. I mean, there's a wide spectrum of people. There's some people in Lead Academy who join and manage to ask for a refund in the end because they just somehow don't see the value. Of course, granted, that's
Yeah.
only like 1% of people, and we'll always honor the request because we do have that 7 day no questions asked money back guarantee. But it's like to see that on one side, there's people signing, you know, literally several clients with several thousands of dollars of setup fees. That I don't know what your LTV is, specifically, but like I'm sure it's in the multi five figures. You're
It's
gonna go
high,
on to
yeah.
make, you're gonna go on to make close to probably $100,000 plus from those clients that you've already signed over their lifespan, and there's some people who can't justify spending $49 for this information. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's
And
not even
like
that's not even like Elite Academy thing. I think it's just people in general.
it's definitely not. And I mean, to your point about like the courses at Magic, it's not. No course is, but at the same time, so this is coming from somebody who had three different SMA agencies, um, real estate, roofing, HVAC. All three, I tried all three. I'd spent, I think, over 5 grand total. Individual members, individual mentorships. Sorry, I can't speak today. And like coaching programs in general, Agency Lab, probably is the most notorious of the list. And I basically like I didn't really get value. Like on the same scale, when you're spending 5 grand on coaching programs and you're not really like my closing rate didn't improve. I wasn't learning new tools. I wasn't learning new ways to get information.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm spending $100 a month. I've signed tons of more clients than I think I've ever signed in my entire life. And it's not just about like you're giving me the information, you're teaching me how to get the information. And that's something so valuable that it's like it's uncomparable. You can't get that anywhere else. And so
Mm-hmm.
when people like from other coaching programs, some coaching programs I understand asking for a refund for, but after experiencing everything that I've experienced and then doing Lead Academy, absolute night and day. Like you have to prove you can't just join and pray that clients start showing up at your door and giving you their credit card, right? But you have all the tools. Like if you actually use the tools, there is zero. I would bet everything I own that you would sign a client. Like it's not it's not all like it's not luck. If
Yeah.
you have all the information, you just have to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think that this is also something that you and I discussed, but I feel like a lot of people think signing a client is hard because like they don't really believe what they're doing is actually good. Like if they believe that what they were selling was actually valuable, then it wouldn't be so hard to go and service deliver. And this is something that you and I discussed about like the concept of like the doctor's frame, which is as a service
Hmm.
provider, it's not like you're coming to the client begging them like, please let me do lead gen for you. The client wants what you have. The client is in need of more leads, right? It's your duty as an entrepreneur to go and to help them get what they need. You're fulfilling a service that they want, right? It's almost like they're coming to you and you're choosing to work with them, right? And when you embody that perspective, you'll understand that signing a client really isn't that hard. You just need to believe that what you're doing is actually good, it's actually valuable, and then you need to actually fulfill. Because if you were good at what you did, like if you think about lead gen from a very high end perspective, you're spending $1, getting $5 back. Anybody would want that, right? Anybody would want to get more money than what they're spending. All you need to do is actually make that a reality, which is actually have a positive return over investment. And I feel like if you can do that, which again, this is something that you can learn. It's always a skill issue, which is one of the greatest parts about lead gen, right? You can go and you can start selling your services, and signing clients won't become a problem. And that's what I feel like has happened to you, because I remember you and I had a ton of conversations about sales, about how to better convert a prospect. And once you started kind of flipping it on them, which is like, hey, like you're coming to me because you want my expertise to start signing more clients. And then you started taking like the ROI perspective, which is just like, listen, we're sending this amount of emails, we're going to get this amount of positive replies, we're going to book this amount of calls, and if you're even half good at closing, you're going to close this amount of clients, and this amount of money you're going to make, and this way you're going to pay for it. And it just makes sense, right? So I guess just to sort of start ending off the interview, because I know we're going over our allotted time here. What would you say about sales and like kind of your experience with becoming a better closer after joining Lead Academy?
So this is actually about you. Like you taught me this specifically. this was out after multiple, like this was multiple coaching calls of you teaching me like piece by piece, um, providing value first. And this isn't just like lead gen. This is everything. If you can get your prospect value before actually speaking to them, or even while you're speaking to them, the difference is astronomical. They're gonna be like intrigued in what you're selling. I mean, this might be way too off topic. Uh, even like yesterday, I had a couple buddies over, and one of them just bought protein powder the day before, and he sees this big tub of protein powder, sitting next to my microwave, and he goes, "What's this?" And I tell him like it's this protein powder. It's good. It's really good. You want to try it? And I go, I don't normally have it. Like it's just been sitting here. And he goes, yeah, you know what? Like this looks really good. And I told him you can have it if you want. I'll give it to you $35. This tub cost me like $4. Um, it was an accident. If you're gonna if you're gonna actually buy it, probably would have costed like 45, 50, whatever. But it was a mistake, and they gave it to me for $4. And so he goes, no, no, I don't want to spend $35. I just bought protein powder yesterday, right? I said, just try a scoop. He goes, for free? I said, yeah, like you're my buddy, like of course. So I get him a shaker. We pour him his like the milk. He takes a scoop and a half of protein powder and it shakes it. While he's drinking it, I'm after the first sip, I just didn't say a word about the protein powder. We were just talking. We were hanging out. He finishes the cup, just handing me cash. Nothing else. And that's the same in everything. Like
Yeah.
that's not just lead gen. That's not like it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you provide value first, sales assets especially as well. Like you teaching me how to make sales assets, lucid charts, and that's been amazing. Like break down what you're doing, right? Really show your prospect in depth what you're offering, why is it good, and teach them something on this call. Don't just be here and like start asking them questions like a therapist. You're not a therapist. You're offering
Of
something,
course.
right? So teach them, get them intrigued, give them something, and they'll return it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's honestly, a great business to be in, scamming your boys out of protein powder. I'm
You
just
got to
joking.
deal.
But
If he was
yeah.
gonna go buy this himself, yeah,
No, but
it'd be
that's
like
a great
45
analogy.
bucks.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you gave him a deal, but that's also a great analogy, which is just like if you give something first, like you start like even if you want to get into like the psychological perspective, which is like you're invoking reciprocity, like you give them something first, and then they kind of feel like they owe you, and that's a big part about what we go into about like creating the ultimate pre-frame, giving people value, like establishing yourself as an authority, and all of these concepts kind of work together, right? You're giving value, you're establishing yourself as an authority, you're making it easier to close, and again, more and more we start to talk about the importance of what's before the sales call more than what's on the sales call, because ultimately what you do before matters more than what you do on the sales call. So I'm really glad to see that you're actually like using the stuff that we talk about, because again, can't express to you how many times I've told people the same exact stuff I've told you, and they just like look at me with like a blank stare and they're just like okay, and then they just change nothing, right? I don't
yeah,
understand how people think that they're just going to do nothing and then something's going to change, right? Like that's like literally the definition of an insane person, to do the same thing over and
yeah,
over and over and then think that you're going to get a different output one of those times. So
yep.
but yeah, I mean, Kareem, listen, I know our interview is going a little bit too long here, so we can start wrapping it up. But it was a really, really big pleasure talking to you. Shared some nice value. I think everybody watching definitely had an opportunity to learn something. For you, do you want to just plug anything that you want to plug? Maybe your social media, anything like that, before we go?
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter. It's Kareem, Kareem. My last name is Shaban, Shaban underscore underscore. That's on Twitter. So I'll be posting a lot more there. I've been trying to get more active. George has been on me about it a little bit. Um, that's the main thing. You can find me there. I'm in Lead Academy if anybody is looking for me. It's also another great place to find me, and that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. And last question for you is: would you recommend people join Lead Academy?
100%. It's not even a question.
It's not even a question. All right, man. That's good to hear. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and until next time.